Consulting Leaders Podcast, where we talk about the business of consulting. Whether you're looking to grow your practice or learn from the stories of leaders in consulting, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Guillaume Jouvencel, ex-PwC and co-founder of GHA Marketing. Join me as I interview the best consultants in their niche. Let's get on with the show. Merrick, welcome to Consulting Leaders. Happy to have you.
Thank you for having me.
It is my pleasure. All right, let's jump straight into it. What got you into consulting, Merrick? What's the story?
Well, right out of college, I got a job. I was really working as a management consultant in an organization, and they were so intensely dysfunctional that it made me say, there has to be a better way to do this. And it just led me to go back and get a MBA in organizational behavior. I discovered team building while I was there. I started one of the first team building companies right out of grad school to teach people how to work together better, how to create a better environment, be better leaders. I just thought people should enjoy work. People should like reporting to their manager. That shouldn't be a reason people are quitting their jobs. And if I can help to do that, then I'm contributing to the world in a positive way.
I like that. What is the problem that you help solving now? Like what is it that you're helping people achieve exactly?
When I go into organizations and my team, and we've certified thousands of people to teach people about the power of their personality. And the challenge is that oftentimes people are imposing their personality on others. And I like to help people to understand that you are impacting the people that you encounter, whether it's at home or at work. And so if you can understand yourself and understand others, you can create positive relationships. The most self-aware people are the most successful people. So let's help people to increase their self-awareness and make a difference.
So I like this. What's the outcome though? What's the point of having a team more aware, better cohesion? What's the outcome of all this? Why should I go on team building with my team?
If you ask the team, the one statement I hear more than anything else is the drama went away. And if you can create an environment where drama has decreased from an organizational perspective, they're going to be more productive. They're going to be more successful. From a people perspective, they're going to be happier.
It's so funny. What does that mean? What does that mean? The drama went away. Why is there drama to begin with?
You know, we do a lot of team surveys, and I will tell you the single lowest rated item on all of our surveys is, rate this on a scale of 1 to 10. People speak only in positive terms about those who are not present. So if you rate that low, people are talking about each other behind their backs. They're throwing each other under the bus. There's this need to be the best, the need to be the one who is right, the need to make things happen. And sometimes we do that at the sake of other people. And when you do team building, if you can get people to realize you're on the same team, when one of you does well, a rising tide lifts all boats, you all do well, help each other, you're going to be happier, you're going to be more successful. But it truly is amazing when you go into companies. This is job security. There will never not be a need for helping teams to get rid of drama.
That is very true. So you mentioned something interesting here, because there are different stakeholders, I guess, in the problem that you solve. There are the people, there are the teams, and there are the organizations. Ultimately, I suspect that the ones making the decisions are the leaders of the organizations, right, versus the team or the people within that team. Is that correct? Or who is it that you help specifically, Merrick, and who makes the decision of hiring you guys?
So I have two different worlds. I've got one world where we do team building. The first company I started was Team Builders Plus. And it's funny because team building began in this world of helping to create a better environment. You would do an activity, you would debrief it, relate it back to their world. But in many cases, team building today has just become, we just want to have a fun day. We want to do a treasure hunt. We want to build bikes for kids. And yeah, my organization, we do that. But we also have more intensive team building interventions. Those just for fun events could be anybody. It could be an admin assistant in a marketing department that was tasked with hiring a team building firm. But if they really are looking at creating organizational change, then it does tend to be human resources or training that's bringing us in. So depends on the goal. Just for fun, could be anyone. If it's intensive, then it's usually coming out of HR.
Makes a lot of sense. So my question to you then, Merrick, is you have a multipolar marketing problem, should I call it? Like I'm sure you've resolved that problem. But how do you get in touch with those HR teams, CHROs, head of L&Ds, VPs of HR, the people making the decision? How do you at the same time educate the teams, the managers of those teams, of the need for better cohesion and get drama out of the way and get the people on board at the same time? I mean, maybe I'm just hallucinating here, but like, how do you manage all this and how do you brand markets so that you have people knocking at the door?
It's interesting because when you have a product that you can say, who's your target demographic? And the answer is everybody. Who needs team building? Everybody. You can't make everybody your target market. So you do have to focus and really go, true marketing is you got to go to the place where people hang out, that those are the people who bring you in. So I often speak at conferences, Society for Human Resource Management, Association for Talent Development. But I also speak at organizations like Vistage International. I've spoken to more than 2/3 of the Fortune 100 companies. So it's small companies, it's large corporations. They'll often bring me in as a speaker, and then that leads to training. I've got about over 2,000 certified trainers that have been certified in what we do. And so once we're out there and people see us, it tends to generate brand awareness for my organization, which then leads to business for all the people who are certified.
Okay, so tell me more about this, because this sounds like the positioning, and if anything, the right positioning. I mean, obviously, all organizations, maybe to a few exceptions, have people and therefore are people-based, especially the people listening to us right now. Coaching, consulting firms, we don't sell cars or widgets, right? It's people. So having the best people, training them the best way possible, retaining them is super important. So the positioning makes sense, but then what has worked for you, Merrick, to attract those people? Where do they hang out? What do you do to get their attention where they hang out? You mentioned just before we started this that you were living on stage, basically. Can you tell us a bit more about speaking engagements? Like, how do you get the attention of those people so that you can trigger conversations and be like, we might be able to help here? How does that work in your world?
So when you're actually on stage, you want to paint the picture so that they can see what it would be like if they brought you into their organization. So you might see me very subtly say things like, imagine if everyone in your organization communicated effectively with each other, or imagine if you got rid of the drama. Imagine if you had leaders who understood the personality styles of the people that they're working with, and how would they be better leaders if they didn't impose their style on others. So they need to see themselves in this story. I think a lot of time keynote speakers are up there and they're wisdom givers. They're trying to share all this knowledge and insight. It's not about you as a speaker. It's about letting them see themselves in the results of what you're talking about. And so when you use those kinds of, imagine if your organization understood this concept, what would it be like? And so you're planting these seeds for, I'm not just a speaker, but I'm also someone who can come into your organization and work with you. A lot of times what happens is speakers go out and speak at events, and then they see those speakers as a speaker, not as someone who's a consultant, a trainer, somebody who could come into their organization as a coach. They only see you as a speaker, so they don't even think, oh, I could bring this person into my company. Yeah, they're a speaker. You have to paint the picture of what it would look like if you went into their organization. What would you do, and what impact would that have? And that's really what causes them to want to bring you in, because they see the benefit.
So I like that. I'm going to dig a little bit further here, because I think this is so important, especially when we are in a niche where it's not obvious for people, and especially the decision makers. Like, what's the, I'm the CEO of this whole thing, and I'm like, yeah, okay, how is that going to impact my bottom line? How is that going to increase, my share of the profits at the end of the year? So what has worked for you to educate, to get them to understand that when you think about the marketing funnel, right? There's going to be the, well, do they know that you exist to begin with? If they see you live on stage, that's ticked. But then, are they properly problem aware? Like, hey, my team doesn't produce as much as I would like to. Cool, that's a problem. But what's the root cause of that problem? Well, people are so busy creating drama and gossiping that they are not getting the work done. So that when we actually remove that with having proper productive team building, all of a sudden productivity increases by 30%. I'm just throwing random numbers out there. Like, what has worked for you to educate those decision makers, make it important for the people to partake and like join the team building, make it actually alive and like commit into it? How do you do that?
The first thing you have to do is you have to make sure that what you're sharing isn't the same old, same old. It can't be obvious, like they need to improve communication skills, be a better listener. Okay, we know that. And the challenge is you have to reinvent what you're doing so they can see, I've done this before, but this is new and it's different. And I'll give you an example. I've used personality styles. Now, I taught the DISC model for about 15 years. It's one of the most widely used personality behavioral models that exists. But then when I swapped out the letters and I got rid of DISC and I replaced it with eagles, parrots, doves, and owls, I released one book. I released 8 more after that. That's when I built a network of over 2,000 certified trainers delivering my content because it was new and different. And so not only did I get an audience of people who would deliver what I created, and then I make money off of what they're selling, but I go on stage and I say, I'll bet you've done personality styles before. Raise your hand if that's true. Every hand goes up. And then I say, well, that's great. That's a fantastic place to start, because if you've used some type of personality model in the past, it must be infused into your culture. You must be using it every day. Your sales folks must be using it. Your managers must be using it every day. Team members must be using it when they talk to each other. Raise your hand if that's true. And then no hand goes up. And I say, that's the problem we're going to fix today. I'm going to show you how to bring the styles into your world to help your leaders be more effective leaders, to create a better culture, to help your salespeople to sell more. And when you can show them that you have something different that can address the challenges they have, you have something powerful. But I think far too often speakers talk and it sounds like they're just the same strategies over and over. And they're like, yeah, I've heard this, or we've tried that. It can't sound like they've tried it before. It has to sound new and it has to sound impactful. If it just sounds familiar, the talk may be great. You might get great ratings, but you're not getting business from it.
Okay, I'm gonna throw a little bit of a curveball at you right now, Merrick. One of the things that my mentor keeps on coming back with is people need to be reminded more than they need to be taught. So what do you think of that? Yes, obviously we all want novelty. We all want to think that there is a silver bullet that's all of a sudden will change everything. But often, from what I've seen as well in my business and in others, it's just repetition, right? It's just like, oh yeah, that's true. I need to, oh yeah, okay. Actually, it's like waking up at 5 a.m., going to the gym, and then focusing on the most important tasks of the day. And that's doing that over like weeks, months, years, that actually brings results. A bit different than the people aspect of it. But what do you think of that?
Yeah, I think 2 things. One, learning can't be an event. It has to be a process. The more times people see something, the more likely they are to do it. But if you have 1 hour, you're on a stage and you're presenting to a group, what you need to do is they need to see themselves in what you're talking about so that the next time it happens, it triggers and it's like you are planting a seed. So I'll give you an example. Instead of me teaching them about personality styles and they're abstract, they're conceptual, let me explain what the eagle is. They're confident, direct, assertive, take charge. And I just live in this land of teaching concepts. It will not make a difference. But if I take that concept and I link it to everyday behaviors, and I say, let's talk about how an eagle gives feedback. They're direct, straightforward, and call it like it is. But if you're giving feedback to a dove who's soft-spoken, you need to soften it. So what happens? The next time they go to give feedback, I've wired giving feedback to the 4 styles. So what I do is when I'm speaking, I'm linking the skills to everyday moments. So it constantly gets triggered. There are continual moments where my talk keeps triggering for them. I have people who say to me, I see the birds everywhere. Yeah, because I was wiring you for them to trigger over and over and over so that it's repetitive and I'm not even doing it. They're doing it, but it's neuroscience. What wires together fires together. I'm training their brain to use what I'm teaching by linking what I'm teaching to everyday behaviors. And then the content that I've shared gets triggered over and over and over again, and they use it. And then they look back and say, this is that talk. I remember it. It changed what I do. And that's when you get a call and they bring you in.
That's the perfect transition. How do you move from this, Merrick, to a conversation, a sales conversation, an SOW, a letter of engagement, we rock and roll? What does sales motion look like for you?
So I'll give you an example. When I speak to CEOs, I often speak to some CEO groups. I've spoken to about 150 CEO groups, been about 2,000 CEOs over the past 10 years. And what I do is I offer each one of them a free assessment. I want you to take a profile, and here's what I'm going to do. Give me a call, and one of my team members is going to walk you through the results. They're going to walk through your results and see how your style is impacting you as a CEO. Well, here's what's happened. Those, not everyone, but they take you up on that offer because they're like, oh, free one-on-one coaching. Fantastic. I'll do it. And then you know what happens is they see the value of what you've given to them. And then my salesperson says, does this sound like something, it might be interesting learning about how we could bring this into your organization? Out of 2,000 CEOs, my organization, we've been brought into over 400 companies from those talks to 2,000 CEOs. I'm sorry, 2,000 CEOs. Imagine that, 2,000 CEOs, 400 clients. And it's because I gave them something free. They see the value. And then they say, well, many of them, you don't even have to say to them, would you like to hear how we can help your organization? You've just given them something and they say, well, tell me what you would do for my company. Done. It's amazing how it brings you in. So don't be afraid to give something small to them to open the door, because when they see the value, they want to work with you. You have to show them that you have value and personalize that value, because then they feel connected to it.
Oh my, okay. I need to double click on this, Merrick, because this is so good. I'm talking a lot to our mastermind group, some of our clients, about the value of lead magnets, right? And free consultations. And the main pushback I get is lead magnets don't work anymore. And I don't want to do free consultations because, my time is worth a lot of money. I charge $200, $500, $1,000, $3,000 an hour. I'm like, you're 100% right. And this is why you will never grow. Now, for the ones who are interested in growing, lead magnets work much less than before, especially the bad ones. When you have a great lead magnet and when you are actually providing tons of value for free, in a day and age where trust is very scarce, anybody can claim anything on the internet, when you actually provide that value for free, which, yes, it will cost you a bit of money, right? Literally the time of your team member here, Merrick. But this is how you unlock the 5, 6, 7 figures engagement. And then it just becomes math, right? Okay, I know that if I talk to 5 CEOs, I will sign 1 company, right? 20% conversion rate on this is actually pretty good from cold outreach of like, hey, do you want a free assessment? And so this lead magnet into free consultation, into looks like we can help here. Do you want this? And by the way, you're gonna get rejections. Another thing that consultants struggle with a lot because they are the experts, it's rejection, and it will happen when you grow. But sound system, and clearly it seems to be working, Merrick. So thank you so much for sharing this.
It is a very powerful lead magnet, because what happens is, it's if you ever heard of that model of like one up, one down, you've now put them one up, right? They feel like, oh, he gave me something, and now they're one down. I need to get back here. They, like they gave me this free consultation. I got to do something back. It's like going into a car dealership and then they offer you a slice of pizza because they're taking a long time, and they just gave you a $2 slice of pizza, and now you're going to spend 10 because now you feel bad. I can't leave now. They gave me pizza, so you spend tens of thousands of dollars on a car, and they give you a $2 piece of pizza. And so they feel like I kind of owe them. At the very least, they will say, talk to me about what you would do for my organization. And when we're giving them that free consultation, we're not trying to sell them. It's let me help you. Let me just give to you. Let me help you. And what you do is you don't say, I'm going to set up one-on-ones with all of you. No, it's whoever wants it gets the one-on-one. Now you've self-selected out. You've now, only the people who are most interested are going to reach out to you. But notice something else I did. I don't do those one-on-ones. My team member does it. So it's not, in a sense, if people are thinking, oh, at my hourly rate. No, it's not at your hourly rate. Have somebody else do that and be that intake person. And it is incredibly successful if you do it well.
Yeah. Amen to that. Talk to me about retention, Merrick. So you come in, you help the team basically be more productive and enjoy their work more. Then what, right? How do you retain? How do you upsell, downsell? How do you keep nurturing the relationship with your clients? Not as in, hey, how do we make the most out of a client, but more as in, hey, how do we keep on building together? And like, how do we solve the next problem and the next problem and the next problem? How do you guys do that?
I think a lot of people, they have one main product. They have, this is what I do and it's what I'm great at. And they don't really have a what's next. Like in my world, in the personality styles world, people have DISC training programs. And if anybody's taken the DISC assessment or Myers-Briggs or any of them, you might say to them, hey, have you done Myers-Briggs? Oh yeah, we did that. How about DISC? Oh yeah, we did that. And then you're done. I have 8 training programs built around the styles. I have one for, you go through our standard one called Taking Flight with DISC. Once you've done that, then you can go through Taking Flight with EQ, which links emotional intelligence to the styles. You can go to Innovating Ideas, which links innovation to the styles. The leaders can go through Chameleon Leadership, teaching them how to adapt to anyone. Sales folks can go to Chameleon Selling. We have a session for coaches and how do you coach, use it called Coaching in Style. The problem is, if you only have one thing that you do, you can only sell one thing. You should, in the first phone call, you're talking with them saying, I know today we're talking about Taking Flight with DISC, but I could tell you from what you're saying, you're going to probably want to do Taking Flight with EQ next. Let's not even worry about that now. We'll do the first session, but after it's done, let's talk about it and see if I'm right. We'll see if that's a good fit for you. And so you've already planted seeds for what's next before you've even sold the first program. You've said, I'm going to schedule a time after our first engagement to talk about what we have that's going to follow this. So you're already planning for step 2. It's like chess. You're not just moving one move at a time. You're moving the second one you're thinking about and planting seeds while you're closing the first one. And when we sell a client, we sell them, we get embedded into their culture. And then the big thing is people move around to different companies. We get so many clients from people who've moved to other organizations. You have to stay with them. Every time somebody who's moved to a new company, don't say, oh no, now they've left the company I'm in. I say, great, we're still in there. And now they're going to bring us somewhere else. You've got to stay connected to those people because they could bring you into the next organization.
I like your style, Merrick, as you've seen, and love the lead magnets play. I'm gonna throw another curveball question at you. What's your number one challenge right now? What's the one nut that you're trying to crack that once you crack, you're gonna take the whole thing to the next level? What would that be for you?
Yeah, for us, it's really just exposure. It's just getting out more and more to organizations. It's our success rate. It's funny, I'll tell you the one thing we got wrong right from the beginning. I thought as we created these certifications for personality styles and using the Eagles, Parrots, Doves, and Owls instead of DISC, we're not going to get people who've used DISC for years. They like it. They're using it. They're not switching. Totally wrong. About 80% of the people we certify are people who have been using styles for many years. And our biggest challenge is just getting in front of them. Our conversion ratio, once they see the birds and see that we've got 8 programs and all these 8 profiles and participant guides and scripted training programs that they can facilitate, they don't have to figure out the activities. We've already created them, handouts, workbooks, everything. It's like it's an entire world for them. For us, it's so easy once a consultant sees what we have, because they realize, wait, instead of selling 1 training program and a profile, you've got 8 training programs, 8 participant guides, 8 profiles, all these other products built around it. Our biggest problem is just getting to those people. The more we can get to those folks, the more successful we are. Our ratios are amazing. We just got to get the opportunity to speak to them.
Thanks for sharing that. And I guess back to the living in a day and age where anybody can claim anything on the internet, it's interesting to see so many people that they know once they get into a conversation, they're able to deliver the value. I mean, we just need to look at the conversion between your assessment and conversion into clients. But yeah, that's one that is very common nowadays. On the other side of the coin, what's a big opportunity that you see in the next 3 to 6 months when it comes to your particular business, Merrick?
For us, we've been working on something for the past year or so, and just we're so excited. And it links style to hiring. And from the perspective of, I think the biggest problem companies face when they go to hire people is they have 2 completely unconnected systems. You've got this one system for hiring, it screens out candidates, and then you've got totally different systems to develop your people. That's crazy. You've learned all this stuff about this new hire, and then day one, you forget about it and have to start fresh. So we've built a system where people take the assessments, they get to learn about their style. It gives a manager a whole series of interview questions. What should you be asking this person based on who they are? Then you get a report which says, how do you onboard this person? Not just a generic anyone. How do I onboard this person? For example, an eagle cares about results. You better show them the opportunity to get some quick wins so they feel progress. The dove cares about interacting with people. You better introduce them to everybody and get them to feel comfortable. So how do you onboard each person? Then the individual themselves, the new hire, gets a start strong report. How do I start strong given who I am? And then you get a coaching report. How do you coach this person once they're on board? So once again, it's just, we stay in our lane. We live in this world of the styles, but we've built an ecosystem, a whole world around it. So that's about to be released. We're beta testing now, and it's very exciting because it's really bringing the styles earlier into the organization's life cycle of an employee. Instead of once they're hired, we're now pushing it back even farther to that point of before they're even hired.
Excited for you. This sounds amazing. And for the people who are going to use it. Merrick, ladies and gentlemen, Merrick, if people want to find out more about you, see what you do, where should they go?
You can go to takeflightlearning.com, and you can see we have 8 different certifications and profiles and products, and you can see how we work with consultants, who we call affiliates, and how we work with in-house trainers, who we call trainers.
We'll put all the links in the description. I can say one thing for sure, Merrick, is that you've gained at least 1 new connection on LinkedIn out of this interview. Me, I'm just adding you. Merrick, thank you so much for coming on Consulting Leaders.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Consulting Leaders Podcast. We hope you learned valuable lessons on how to grow your practice and take your business to the next level. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening to this show so you never miss an episode. To apply and be a guest on the show, click the link in the description. See you next time.
Great.